My dad refused to walk me down the aisle because my sister planned a party on my wedding day just to spite me. But he lost it when he saw who stepped in to walk me instead. Imagine the most important day of your life. A day you've dreamed of forever. Almost crumbling because your own father chose your sister's manipulative lie over walking you down the aisle. The betrayal cut me deeper than I ever thought possible. But what he didn't expect was the truly incredible man who stepped in to take his place. And my father's face when he finally found out. That image is seared into my memory. My name is Adrian and I'm 29. Growing up, our family looked picture-perfect from the outside. A modest home in Allentown, Pennsylvania with a white picket fence, my mom planting tulips, my dad teaching me to ride a bike. Those memories, I cling to them. My father, Richard, was my hero. He was a tall man, commanding but with the gentlest smile. He'd make time every morning to sit with me at breakfast, telling me, "Adrian, you have the brightest mind I have ever seen. You are going to change the world someday." Those words fueled me. I'd throw myself into school projects, bringing home straight A's, and he'd take me for ice cream. My mother, Eleanor, was the heart of our home. A nurse, always putting us first. She'd sit with me for hours, helping with homework or teaching me to bake her famous chocolate chip cookies. She was our peacekeeper. But everything changed when I was 12. Mom started feeling tired, and within 3 months we got the devastating diagnosis. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The next 6 months were a blur of hospital visits, whispered adult conversations, and watching my vibrant mother fade away. When she passed, it left a gaping hole we never truly addressed. My sister Vanessa, 3 years older than me, made things even more complicated. Even before Mom died, Vanessa resented the close bond one had with Dad. She was tall and athletic, I was petite and bookish. She excelled at sports, I loved art and literature. Mom tried to celebrate us equally, but Vanessa saw every compliment I received as a slight against her. After Mom's death, the tension exploded. Dad threw himself into work, staying late, probably to avoid the emptiness at home. Vanessa, at 15, quickly filled that vacuum, appointing herself the new lady of the house. She'd scold me. "Dad's dealing with enough without your constant neediness. He has important clients. We need to be strong for him." I watched her transform, cooking meals, nothing like Mom's, taking control. Dad seemed grateful, and their relationship strengthened while mine with him withered. Then came Dad's business success. He was promoted to senior partner, more money, even less time. Vanessa became a master manipulator. Adrian just spent $60 on art supplies. She'd tell him, leaving out it was for a school project. Or, Adrian said she doesn't need you to come to her band concert. She knows how busy you are. Meanwhile, I was counting the days, hoping he'd show. By high school, Vanessa had painted a picture of me to Dad. Rebellious, ungrateful, only interested in friends. The truth was I'd retreated into my studies and art, trying to cope with losing both my mother and increasingly my father. The ultimate betrayal hit during my junior year. I was nominated for a prestigious art scholarship. I reminded Dad for weeks. The night before, I overheard Vanessa on the phone with him. "Adrian told me she doesn't want to make a big deal about tomorrow. She said having you there might make her nervous. Maybe just send a card." The next day I sat alone at the ceremony, watching other proud parents, as I accepted my award. Dad texted congratulations, citing an important client dinner. I later found out from his assistant that Vanessa had called his office, claiming I had asked to reschedule. When I confronted her, she just shrugged. "You always want all the attention. It's pathetic." By 18 I couldn't wait to leave. I went to the University of Pittsburgh, eager for distance. Home visits were limited to holidays, enduring Vanessa's jabs and Dad's distant politeness. It was my sophomore year when I met Benjamin. He was kind, logical, and had a quick smile. Our coffee meetup turned into a 3-hour conversation, and we were inseparable. Benjamin came from a warm, boisterous family. His mother, Laura, a kindergarten teacher, made everyone feel special. His father, Henry, had a dry wit. His younger brother, Noah. They welcomed me into their home as if I'd always belonged. Benjamin was my rock. He understood my family issues without judgment, holding me when holidays left me in tears, celebrating my achievements when my own father failed to acknowledge them. After graduation, we moved to Philadelphia, built our careers, and rented an apartment. Far from the shadow of my family drama, I maintained obligatory, brief calls with my father. Vanessa, working in real estate, still in our hometown, continued to position herself as the dutiful daughter, reminding me she was the one taking care of Dad. By 27, I was a marketing executive. Benjamin had also advanced. Our life was fulfilling beyond what I'd imagined. The old wounds remained, but I created a new life where I was valued and loved. Benjamin proposed on our 5th anniversary. He'd recreated our first date. Breakfast, an art museum visit, dinner at our favorite Italian spot. When dessert arrived, so did a small velvet box. "Adrian," he said, taking my hands, "you have made these past 5 years the best of my life. Your creativity, your kindness, your strength amaze me every day. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" The ring was perfect, a vintage sapphire, unique, like my artistic spirit. In that moment of pure joy, I pushed aside the anxiety of sharing the news with my family. I just wanted to be happy. The next morning I called my father. Dad, Benjamin proposed last night and I said yes. A pause. Too long. Well, congratulations, he finally said, his tone more suited for a minor work achievement. No excitement, no questions about the proposal. Just practical inquiries. Let me know when you decide. I should check my calendar. I hung up fighting tears. Benjamin found me, understood, and just held me. Vanessa's reaction was even more telling. When I texted her the news, her response was cloyingly congratulatory. Oh, congrats, little sis. So happy for you. That ring is so pretty. The excessive exclamation points couldn't mask the seething jealousy. Vanessa, at 32, had a string of short-lived relationships, never finding long-term commitment. Despite the lukewarm response, we planned our wedding for June 15th. Dad confirmed his availability. I've put it in my calendar, he said. Dad, I ventured carefully. I was hoping you'd walk me down the aisle. Another pause then. I would be honored, Adrian. That single moment of connection gave me hope. Maybe my wedding could heal us. The next months were a blur of venue tours, tastings, dress fittings. Benjamin's mother, Laura, joined me for many appointments, offering support without being overbearing. You are going to be the most beautiful bride, she told me, tears in her eyes as I emerged from the dressing room in my lace gown. I felt Mom's absence acutely, but Laura sensed it, squeezing my hand gently. Your mom would be so proud of the woman you have become. I also grew closer to Benjamin's uncle, Jack, his mother's brother-in-law. Jack, in his early 60s, was a retired English professor, silver-haired, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He'd never married or had children but doted on Benjamin and Noah. He'd engage me in thoughtful conversations about books, art, my marketing work. You have a remarkable eye for what moves people, he'd say. His genuine enthusiasm was a stark contrast to my own family. My father would confirm his attendance but never asked about plans. Vanessa declined to be a bridesmaid, citing work, but said she'd attend. 5 months before the wedding, troubling signs emerged. Vanessa made vague social media comments about a big event she was planning. When I called, she was evasive. Just something for work. Nothing for you to worry about. But as our date neared, I saw more posts. Venue scouting, catering, mentioning June. A knot of anxiety tightened in my stomach. The bombshell dropped 3 months before the wedding. Vanessa called, her voice dripping with false sweetness. Adrian, I wanted to let you know personally before you see it on social media. I'm hosting a career achievement party on June 15th. I've finally hit my sales target to become a broker. And the firm is throwing me a huge celebration. My blood ran cold. Vanessa, that is my wedding day. You received the save the date 8 months ago. Did I? She feigned surprise. It must have slipped my mind. Anyway, it's just a coincidence. My event is earlier, starting at 11 a.m. at the country club. It should be winding down around the time your ceremony starts at 4 p.m., so it works out perfectly. Perfectly. I repeated, my voice rising. You're scheduling a party on my wedding day, knowing Dad will have to choose. Dad can attend both events, she replied smoothly. He's so proud of my achievement, but I'm sure he'll make it to your wedding too. It's not that far a drive. The country club was nearly 2 hours from our venue, making it physically impossible for anyone, especially the father of the bride, to make it on time. I immediately called my father. Dad, did you know Vanessa scheduled her party on my wedding day? Yes, she mentioned it, he replied casually. It's unfortunate timing, but these work events are hard to reschedule. It's a big achievement for her. But Dad, how will you attend both? You're supposed to walk me down the aisle. I'll make it work, Adrian. I'll go to the first part of Vanessa's event, then drive over for your ceremony. There's no need to make this a bigger issue than it is. But as weeks passed, I sensed him wavering. He'd mention traffic, ask if we could push the ceremony back, wonder if I really needed him for pre-wedding photos. Our wedding plans continued despite the growing tension. Then just 2 weeks before the wedding, the call came that confirmed my worst fears. It was a Tuesday evening. My father's number. Adrian, he began, his voice uncomfortable. I need to talk to you about the wedding. I've been thinking about the logistics for June 15th, and I don't think I can make it to the ceremony on time. Vanessa's event is really important to her career, and as her father I need to be there for the whole thing. The timing just doesn't work out. I gripped the phone tightly, fighting to keep my voice steady. You are choosing not to walk me down the aisle at my wedding. It's not about choosing, he said defensively. It's about practical timing. Vanessa's event is earlier, and I can't be in 2 places at once. Maybe you could ask Benjamin's father to walk you down the aisle, or your friend's dad. I'm sure someone else can do it. Someone else? As if walking his daughter down the aisle was an interchangeable task. I see, I managed, my voice barely a whisper. I'll still come to the reception, he added, as if offering a generous compromise. I should be able to make it by 7 or so, depending on traffic. After mumbling goodbye, I dropped the phone and collapsed onto the floor, sobbing. Benjamin found me 20 minutes later, home from work. He understood instantly. "He's not coming," I wailed into his shoulder. "He's choosing Vanessa's party over walking me down the aisle." Benjamin held me tight, his own anger evident in his tense shoulders. "I'm so sorry, Adrian. He doesn't deserve you." That night, Benjamin gently suggested postponing the wedding. "We could move it. Give your dad no excuse." The thought had crossed my mind, but something inside me rebelled. "No," I said firmly. "I am not rearranging our wedding because of Vanessa's manipulations. That's exactly what she wants." The next day, Benjamin's mother, Laura, called. I found myself pouring out the whole story. "Oh, sweetheart," she said, her voice filled with motherly concern. "I can't believe your father would do this to you." "I don't know what to do," I admitted. "Part of me wants to beg him, but I know that's what Vanessa expects. She wants me to seem desperate." "Listen to me," Laura said firmly. "This is your day, yours and Benjamin's. Don't let anyone diminish it. Your father is making a choice he will regret for the rest of his life, but that is his burden to bear, not yours." Her words gave me strength, but the question remained. Who would walk me down the aisle? The thought of walking alone felt like a public acknowledgement of my father's rejection. Later that week, Benjamin's uncle Jack called. "Benjamin told me what happened," he said gently. "I hope you don't mind him sharing." "Of course not," I replied, touched. "I know this is a difficult time," Jack continued. "Family disappointments cut the deepest." Something in his tone suggested he knew this pain personally. "It sounds like you understand. More than you might guess. My own father disowned me for choosing literature instead of business. Some wounds never fully heal, but we learn to build beautiful lives despite them. His wisdom and kindness brought fresh tears to my eyes. Thank you for understanding, Jack." "Anytime, dear. And remember, family is not just about blood. It's about who shows up for you when it matters." 1 week before the wedding, I hit rock bottom. Despite excited emails from friends, final vendor confirmations, I found myself on our bathroom floor at midnight, overwhelmed by grief. The wedding was perfect, except for the gaping hole left by my father's absence. The next morning, Benjamin suggested I meet his mom for lunch. Laura was waiting at a quiet cafe. "Benjamin is worried about you," she said, squeezing my hand. "We all are." "I'm trying to be strong," I replied, stirring my tea. "I keep telling myself it doesn't matter, that I'm better off without Dad there. But then I think about walking into the ceremony alone, and I just feel abandoned." "It's okay to feel that way, Adrian. What your father is doing is wrong, and you have every right to be hurt." As we picked at our salads, Laura seemed to be gathering her thoughts. "There's something I think you should know," she finally said. "Something about Jack that might help you understand why he called you." "What about him?" I looked up, curious. "Jack is actually my late husband's brother," she explained. "When I met Henry, Jack was already estranged from their parents. Their father was a very rigid, traditional man who never forgave Jack for choosing academia over the family construction business." I nodded, recalling Jack's comment about his father missing his graduation. "What you might not know is that I was married once before Henry," Laura continued. "A brief, unfortunate union when I was very young. When I decided to marry Henry, my father refused to attend because he thought it was shameful for me to have a second wedding. He said it would embarrass him." "That's terrible," I murmured. "It was Jack who offered to walk me down the aisle," she said, a small smile forming. "He understood what it was like to be rejected by a parent. He told me, 'Laura, you deserve to be given away by someone who celebrates your happiness, not someone who judges it.'" Her story resonated deeply. "I had no idea Jack did that for you." "He never had children of his own," Laura continued. "But he has been the most wonderful uncle to Benjamin and Noah. He attends every school play, graduation, important moment." The idea began to form in my mind. "Do you think," I started hesitantly, "would it be inappropriate to ask Jack if he would walk me down the aisle?" Laura's eyes filled with tears. "Oh, sweetheart, I think it would mean the world to him. But this has to be your decision." I spent the next day considering it. Jack had always shown genuine interest, always been kind. There was something poetic about being walked down the aisle by someone who truly understood parental rejection. That evening I called Jack. We met at a bookstore cafe. He was already there, 2 coffees waiting. "I took the liberty of ordering your usual," he said with a warm smile. "Vanilla latte with an extra shot." "Right." The fact he remembered such a small detail confirmed his character. "Jack, there's something I wanted to ask you." He set down his coffee, giving me his full attention. "Anything, Adrian. I don't know if Benjamin told you, but my father has decided not to walk me down the aisle." The word still hurt. Jack nodded solemnly. "Benjamin mentioned there was some conflict. I am truly sorry you are experiencing this." I took a deep breath. "Laura told me how you walked her down the aisle at her wedding to Henry, and how meaningful that was to her. I was wondering, would you consider doing the same for me?" Jack's expression shifted from surprise to profound emotion. For a moment he seemed unable to speak, his eyes glistening. Adrian, he finally said, his voice thick. I cannot tell you what this means to me. Are you certain? This should be a special moment with someone you are close to. I am absolutely certain, I replied, feeling more confident by the second. You have shown me more genuine interest and support in the years I've known you than my father has in a decade. I would be proud to have you walk me down the aisle. Jack reached across the table and took my hand. Then I accept with all my heart. It would be one of the greatest honors of my life. The crushing weight that had been on me for weeks suddenly felt lighter. Jack was right. Family was about who showed up. The final days were a whirlwind. I made one last attempt to reach my father, 3 days before the wedding. Dad, I just wanted to confirm if you're still planning to come to the reception. Yes, I should be able to make it after Vanessa's event, he replied, sounding distracted. Probably around 7:30 or 8. I swallowed hard. I also wanted you to know that I've asked Benjamin's uncle, Jack, to walk me down the aisle. A pause. Who? Jack Harris. Benjamin's uncle. He's been very supportive throughout our relationship. I see. His tone was unreadable. Well, I suppose someone has to do it if I cannot be there on time. His dismissive response only confirmed I had made the right choice. The night before the wedding, we had a small rehearsal dinner. Jack offered a toast that brought tears to many eyes. To Adrian and Benjamin, he said, raising his glass. True love is not just about finding the right person, but also about creating a family of choice that supports and celebrates you. I am deeply honored to play a small role in your special day. Later I checked social media. Vanessa's career celebration photos showed simple decorations in her apartment, maybe a dozen people tagged. It was clearly not the grand corporate event she'd described. Just a regular house party she'd scheduled specifically to conflict with my wedding. The knowledge should have hurt, but instead I felt a strange sense of clarity. The scales had finally fallen from my eyes. Her jealousy ran so deep she'd sabotage one of the most important days of my life out of spite. I closed the app. Tomorrow would be about love. I awoke on my wedding day to sunshine. My bridesmaids, friends from college and work, arrived early, their excitement infectious. As my friend Sophia had her hair styled, my phone chimed. A text from my father. Good luck today. Vanessa's event starts at 11 o'clock. If it wraps up early, I might be able to make it to the reception by 7 or 8. Save me some cake. Not a word of regret. Not even I love you. Just a reminder that Vanessa's party was his priority. I handed the phone to my bridesmaid Zoe, unable to respond. He's unbelievable, she muttered, giving me a supportive hug. Try not to let it ruin your day. Around noon, Jack knocked on the door, immaculately dressed in his tuxedo, holding a small gift box. I hope I'm not intruding, he said. I just wanted to drop this off for Adrian. I invited him in. You look absolutely radiant, he said, his eyes crinkling. Benjamin is a very fortunate young man. Thank you for coming by, I replied. And for everything else. Jack handed me the box. I wanted you to have this today. It belonged to my mother, and I've been saving it for a special occasion. Inside was a delicate vintage handkerchief, embroidered with tiny blue flowers. Something old, something blue, Jack explained. My mother carried it on her wedding day in 1930. I thought perhaps you might like to have it with you today. Tears welled. It's beautiful, Jack. I would be honored. There's one more thing, he added, reaching into his pocket. Laura asked me to give you this. It was meant to be a surprise. A small velvet pouch. Inside, a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm. A paintbrush crossed with a pen. She remembered you telling her how you loved both writing and painting as a child, Jack explained. She wanted you to have a reminder of your creative spirit on your wedding day. The thoughtfulness overwhelmed me. These people, who had no obligation by blood, had shown more care for my happiness than my own family. Please thank her for me, I managed, fastening the bracelet. This means so much. Jack nodded, understanding. I'll see you before the ceremony. As the afternoon progressed, I focused on the joy. My bridesmaids helped me into my dress. With my hair swept up, my mother's pearl earrings, Laura's bracelet, and Jack's handkerchief tucked into my bouquet, I felt ready. At 10 minutes before 4, I made my way to the garden terrace. Through the glass doors I could see our 90 guests, the floral arch where Benjamin waited, the string quartet. Jack was in the anteroom, slightly nervous but composed. When he saw me, his expression was pure pride. Ready? He asked gently. I nodded, too emotional to speak. Jack offered his arm. As the first notes of Canon in D played, the doors opened. Walking down the aisle with Jack, I felt a curious blend of emotions. There was still a pang of sadness that my father had chosen to miss this moment, but it was overshadowed by gratitude for the man who had stepped in with such grace and kindness. Benjamin's face as he watched me approach was worth every moment of planning, every family drama, every tear shed. His eyes shone with love and wonder, and in that moment, I knew with absolute certainty that we were creating our own family, one built on mutual respect and genuine care. The ceremony was everything I'd hoped for. We exchanged vows, promising to support each other's dreams, communicate honestly, and choose each other every day. When the officiant pronounced us husband and wife, the applause wrapped around us like an embrace. The cocktail hour and dinner were filled with laughter, toasts, and dancing. Benjamin's father gave a heartfelt speech. Jack's toast brought happy tears to many. By 8:30, it was clear my father wouldn't even make the reception. I tried not to let it dampen my spirits as Benjamin and I shared our first dance. As the evening progressed, I noticed my cousin Thomas arrive, looking frazzled. He was my mother's nephew, and one of the few who maintained relationships with both Vanessa and me. I greeted him. "I'm so sorry I'm late," he said, genuinely apologetic. I stopped by Vanessa's event first thinking I could make both. "But Adrian, there's something you should know." He guided me to a quiet corner, his expression serious. "That party Vanessa had today? It wasn't what she told everyone. It wasn't a work event at all." My stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" "It was just a regular gathering at her apartment. Maybe 15 people total. Mostly her friends from the gym and a couple of coworkers. There was no company recognition, no achievement celebration." I asked her colleague Sarah about the broker promotion, and she looked completely confused. The implications were staggering. "So, she lied about the whole thing just to create a conflict with my wedding?" Thomas nodded grimly. "That's not all. I overheard her talking to your dad. She's been telling him for months that you didn't really want him at the wedding, that you only asked him to walk you down the aisle out of obligation." "What? That's completely false." "I know. And there's more." Thomas pulled out his phone, showing me a text exchange from months earlier where Vanessa openly admitted scheduling her party on my wedding day deliberately. "She wanted to force your dad to choose," Thomas said, "by telling him you'd said horrible things about him to the family." The revelation was both shocking and strangely validating. All these years, I thought I was paranoid about Vanessa's manipulations. Here was proof she had been actively sabotaging my relationship with our father. "Does Dad know any of this?" I asked. Thomas shook his head. "I don't think so. I tried to tell him today, but Vanessa kept interrupting and eventually pulled him away." "I'm so sorry, Adrian. I should have realized what was happening sooner." I hugged my cousin, grateful for his honesty. "Thank you for telling me, Thomas. At least now I know the truth." As the reception continued, I tried to process this. Part of me wanted to call my father immediately and expose Vanessa, but another part recognized this was my wedding day, and I deserved to enjoy it. I rejoined Benjamin on the dance floor, pushing thoughts of my sister and father aside. This day was about our love, our future, not the painful past. The reception was winding down when I noticed a commotion near the entrance. My heart skipped a beat. My father's tall figure, looking uncomfortable in a hastily put-on suit. Benjamin noticed him too and squeezed my hand. "Do you want me to run interference?" I shook my head. "No, I need to handle this." My father approached awkwardly, holding a small gift bag. "Congratulations," he said stiffly, leaning in for an equally stiff hug. "Sorry I'm late. Vanessa's thing ran longer than expected." The casual way he referenced missing my entire wedding made my blood boil, but I maintained composure. "I'm glad you could make it for the last hour of the reception." If he detected the sarcasm, he didn't acknowledge it. He glanced around the elegant room. "It looks like it was a nice wedding." "It was beautiful," I replied. "Perfect, actually." An uncomfortable silence fell. He thrust the gift bag toward me. "This is from Vanessa and me. A set of crystal wine glasses." "Thank you," I said, setting the bag aside. "Would you like a drink?" He nodded and we walked to the bar. As the bartender prepared his scotch, my father finally asked the question I'd been expecting. "So who ended up walking you down the aisle?" "Jack Harris," I replied. "Benjamin's uncle." My father frowned slightly. "The older gentleman in the navy tuxedo, the one who gave that toast earlier?" I nodded, spotting Jack chatting with Laura and Henry. "Yes, that's him. You had a stranger walk you down the aisle?" His tone was incredulous. "He is not a stranger to me," I said firmly. "He has been part of Benjamin's family for years, and he has shown more interest in my life and happiness than you have in a very long time." My father's face flushed with anger. "That's not fair, Adrian. I have always supported you." "Have you?" I challenged, the hurt of years finally bubbling to the surface. "You missed my art scholarship ceremony in high school because Vanessa told you I didn't want you there. You forgot my college graduation dinner until Benjamin's parents reminded you. And now you skipped my wedding ceremony for Vanessa's fake party." "Fake party? What are you talking about?" At that moment, Thomas approached. "Uncle Richard, I'm glad you made it, even if it's just for the end of the reception." My father nodded curtly. "Thomas, what is this Adrian is saying about Vanessa's party being fake?" Thomas looked between us, realizing he'd walked into a tense conversation. "I was just telling Adrian earlier. The party today wasn't a work event. It was just a regular get-together at Vanessa's apartment." "That cannot be right." My father insisted. Vanessa said it was for her broker promotion. The firm was sponsoring it. I asked her colleague Sarah about it, Thomas replied calmly. There was no promotion, no company event. It was just a party Vanessa planned on the same day as Adrienne's wedding. My father's expression shifted from disbelief to confusion. Before he could respond, Jack approached. Adrienne, Benjamin is looking for you. I believe it's almost time for the sparkler send-off. My father stared at Jack with barely concealed hostility. You must be the uncle who walked my daughter down the aisle. Jack extended his hand politely. Jack Harris. You must be Richard. It's good to finally meet you. My father ignored the outstretched hand. I don't understand why my daughter needed to have a stranger take my place at her wedding. Dad, stop it. I hissed, mortified. Jack remained composed. I can understand your confusion. It was an honor to support Adrienne on her special day, especially knowing how important the ceremony was to her. Important to her? My father scoffed. If it was so important, she could have scheduled it on a day that didn't conflict with her sister's event. My wedding was scheduled 9 months ago. I interjected. Vanessa deliberately planned her party for the same day, and Thomas has proof of it. Thomas reluctantly showed my father the texts. My father read them, his face growing increasingly pale. This cannot be right, he muttered. Vanessa would not do this. She has been doing it for years, Dad, I said, my voice breaking. She has been deliberately driving a wedge between us since Mom died. She lied to you about me not wanting you at my art ceremony, about me not caring if you came to my graduation dinner, and now about me not really wanting you to walk me down the aisle. My father looked genuinely shocked. She told me, you said having me walk you down the aisle would be embarrassing because we are not close anymore. She said, you only asked out of obligation. That is absolutely not true. I insisted. I wanted you there. I have always wanted you in my life. The realization seemed to hit my father all at once, the years of manipulation suddenly becoming clear to him. His expression shifted from confusion to anger. I need to speak with Vanessa, he said sharply, pulling out his phone. Not now. I pleaded. This is my wedding reception. But he was already dialing, stepping away from us. Jack placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. I am so sorry about this, Adrienne. Should I get Benjamin? I nodded gratefully, overwhelmed. Jack disappeared, returning moments later with my new husband. Benjamin took in the situation, quickly putting a protective arm around me. What happened? Before I could explain, my father returned, his face flushed with anger. Vanessa hung up on me. I'm going to her apartment right now to get the truth. Dad, please, I said. Can this wait until tomorrow? This is supposed to be a celebration. I need to know if what you're saying is true, he insisted. If Vanessa has been lying to me all these years. She has, Thomas confirmed quietly. I'm sorry, Uncle Richard, but it's true. My father looked at me, then at Jack, who was standing supportively beside us. Something about seeing us together seemed to trigger a fresh wave of anger. So you replaced me with him? He demanded, gesturing toward Jack. Some random old man you barely know? Jack stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. Mr. Evans, I understand you are upset, but this is neither the time nor place for this conversation. Today is about Adrienne and Benjamin's marriage, not about past grievances. Don't tell me what this day is about, my father snapped. She is my daughter. Then perhaps you should have acted like her father, Jack replied evenly. Being a father means showing up not just when it's convenient, but when it matters most. The simple truth of Jack's words seemed to hit my father like a physical blow. He stared at Jack, then at me, his anger suddenly deflating into something that looked almost like shame. I need to go, he said abruptly. I need to talk to Vanessa. Without another word, he turned and strode out of the ballroom, leaving an uncomfortable silence in his wake. Benjamin pulled me close. Are you okay? I nodded, though tears threatened. I just wish he could have seen the truth sooner. Jack's steady presence beside us was comforting. Family revelations are never easy, Adrienne, but sometimes they are necessary for healing to begin. Laura and Henry joined us, having witnessed the confrontation from a distance. Laura hugged me tightly. Don't let this overshadow your beautiful day. You and Benjamin deserve all the happiness in the world. We rejoined the remaining guests for the sparkler send-off, creating a magical tunnel of light. As Benjamin and I ran through to our waiting car, despite the confrontation with my father, I felt a curious sense of peace. The truth was finally out in the open. And whatever happened next, I had a new family who truly valued me. We spent 2 blissful weeks honeymooning in Greece. The distance allowed me to process everything. I turned off notifications from my father and Vanessa, determined to enjoy this special time. But when we returned to our apartment, reality was waiting. 5 messages from my father, each progressively more apologetic. The final one was particularly raw. Adrienne, I don't know if you're listening to these messages, but you were right about Vanessa. After the wedding, I went to her apartment and confronted her. She denied everything at first, but when I pressed her, she finally admitted the truth. She has been manipulating both of us for years, telling me you didn't want me in your life while telling you I was too busy for you. I cannot believe I was so blind. I understand if you never want to speak to me again, but I hope someday you will give me a chance to make this right. I am so sorry I missed your wedding. It was unforgivable. No messages from Vanessa, only a terse email stating she was taking time away from family drama and traveling for work indefinitely. I sat on the couch staring at my phone. Benjamin sat beside me holding my hand in silence. What are you thinking? He finally asked. I don't know, I admitted. Part of me feels vindicated that Dad finally sees the truth, but another part is just sad for all the years we lost. Do you want to call him back? Not yet. I need some time to figure out what I want this relationship to look like going forward, if I even want one at all. The next few weeks were busy with thank you notes, returning to work, and settling into married life. I maintained contact with Benjamin's family, especially Jack, who called every Sunday evening. How are you doing, Adrian? He'd ask, his voice warm with genuine concern. Our conversations ranged from books to work to deeper discussions about family and forgiveness. Jack never pressured me about reconnecting with my father, but his own experiences offered valuable perspective. Forgiveness is not about excusing the behavior, he told me. It is about freeing yourself from the burden of resentment. Whatever you decide about your relationship with your father, make sure it brings you peace. A month after our return, I finally called my father. We met at a neutral cafe. He looked older and more tired. Adrian, thank you for coming, he said, his voice thick. I don't even know where to begin, he said after our coffees arrived. I failed you so completely. Yes, you did. I agreed, not sugarcoating it. But I want to understand how it happened. How did you not see what Vanessa was doing all these years? He sighed heavily. After your mother died, I was lost. Vanessa stepped up to take care of things at home and I was grateful. It was easier to believe her version of events than to face my own grief and inadequacy as a single parent. She became my connection to you, filtering everything through her perspective. By the time you left for college, I believed her narrative that you were pulling away. I never wanted to pull away from you, I said. I just couldn't handle Vanessa's constant manipulation. It was easier to distance myself. I understand that now, he replied. After the wedding, when I confronted her, she finally admitted everything. She has been jealous of our relationship since you were a child. She felt I always favored you, and after your mother died, she saw an opportunity to have me all to herself. Have you spoken to her since? He shook his head. She left for a business trip to Florida the day after I confronted her. She's staying with a friend in Miami and refuses to discuss what happened. I don't know when or if she will come back. We talked for nearly 3 hours, going through painful memories and misunderstandings. There were tears, recriminations, and eventually the beginnings of understanding. I want to try to rebuild our relationship, my father said as we prepared to leave. I know I don't deserve another chance, but if you are willing, I would like to get to know the amazing woman you have become. I need to think about it, I replied honestly. This is not something we can fix in one conversation. He nodded, accepting my boundary. Take all the time you need. I will be here when you are ready. Over the following months, we began a careful reconciliation. Weekly phone calls became regular visits. I introduced him properly to Benjamin's family, including Jack, who displayed remarkable grace in welcoming my father despite their awkward first meeting. 3 months after our first reunion, my father suggested a family dinner at his home, including Benjamin's parents and Jack. It was a tentative step toward blending our families. And while there were awkward moments, there was also genuine effort on all sides. After dinner, I found my father and Jack deep in conversation. I want to thank you for being there for Adrian when I was not, my father was saying. Walking her down the aisle should have been my privilege, but you did it with honor. Jack nodded thoughtfully. She is a remarkable young woman. You should be very proud of who she has become, largely through her own strength and determination. I am, my father agreed. I just wish I had been more present to see it happening. Their conversation gave me hope that perhaps the wounds of the past could truly heal with time and effort. Vanessa remained distant, occasionally sending impersonal texts or holiday cards, but avoiding any real conversation about what had happened. I came to accept that some relationships might never be repaired, and that was okay. 6 months after the wedding, we hosted our first Thanksgiving as a married couple. Our dining table was filled with Benjamin's family, my father, cousin Thomas, and a few close friends. Vanessa was invited but declined. As we went around the table sharing what we were thankful for, my father's voice broke with emotion. I am thankful for second chances, he said simply, and for a daughter whose capacity for forgiveness humbles me every day. When it was Jack's turn, he smiled warmly. I am thankful for the reminder that family is created through love and choice, not just biology. And I am especially thankful to have gained another niece in Adrian, whose courage and grace inspire me. On our 1-year anniversary, Benjamin and I held a small dinner party. Jack surprised us with a toast. 1 year ago, I had the privilege of walking this beautiful young woman down the aisle to marry the man she loves. What began as a solemn duty became one of the greatest gifts of my life. The opportunity to be part of Adrian and Benjamin's journey. May your marriage continue to grow in strength and joy. And may you always remember that true family consists of those who choose to love you, even when it is difficult. As I reflect on the journey that brought us here, I realize that sometimes life's greatest wounds can lead to unexpected healing. My father's absence on my wedding day led to Jack's presence, which in turn created a bridge for my father's return to my life. The family I have now includes both those I was born to and those I have chosen. All imperfect, all valuable in their own ways. I've learned that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing harmful behavior. It means freeing yourself from the burden of resentment and creating boundaries that protect your heart while allowing for growth and change. The father who walks you down the aisle should indeed be someone who has walked beside you through life's challenges, supporting and loving you unconditionally. Sometimes that person shares your DNA, and sometimes they come into your life through other paths. What matters most is not who stands beside you on one important day, but who shows up for all the ordinary days that follow. I am fortunate to have found my tribe, the people who choose me every day just as I choose them.